Claire Saunders. I'm here at Microelectronics UK with Paul Double, who is the CEO of EDA Solutions. How
Hello.
are you doing?
Yes, very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So we're on a Siemens stand. Paul, tell me a little bit more about that, because you're EDA Solutions.
Yes, so EDA Solutions are the Europe-wide distribution partner of Siemens EDA for their IC design software. So obviously at Microelectronics UK, that's the most pertinent part of the Siemens flow, because as you can imagine, Siemens have a finger in pretty much every pie in industry.
Yeah, they're quite a big company, aren't they?
Absolutely.
And tell me a little bit more about why you're at Microelectronics and what you guys are trying to generate from it, what you're trying to achieve.
Yep. So Siemens, obviously they're a household name in industry, but they're not so well known in the microelectronics industry. So Siemens got into this industry by acquiring Mentor Graphics back in 2017, but still everybody knows Mentor, but still a lot of people don't put the name Siemens together with silicon chip design. And so EDA Solutions, we're their distribution partner in Europe, so this is an industry that we have focused entirely on, although I do say that we work through the whole of Europe, so UK is just one part of that for us, but obviously it's a very important part for us, and an area that we really need to focus on to get more growth.
Okay. And while you're here, I understand you're also kind of partnering with another group of people, so you're looking into the skill sets.
Absolutely. So EDA Solutions were instrumental in founding the UK ESF, the Electronic Skills Foundation, over 15 years ago now, and they're here to celebrate that 15th anniversary and also to push their skills agenda, because as a company serving the semiconductor sector, one of the biggest inhibitors to our growth over that 15 years has been the lack of new talent coming into the industry. So it's not lost on people how grey I am, and it's indicative of the industry we're in.
That's it.
So
none of us are getting any younger,
absolutely.
Are we?
So trying to get more young people to come into microelectronics is a real challenge. And so UK ESF, they provide internships and funding to students to come into the industry, and both EDA Solutions and I'm glad to say Siemens EDA both invest heavily into this side of things and provide internships, sponsorship for these sorts of initiatives.
That's really encouraging. I mean, we find, and we do at lots of events around the world, that we actually speak a lot about the skill set shortages, and it's an international issue. So we can have a panel of people with a German guy on there, an American guy, an Asian. There's no change anywhere. So it's a real problem. And it's so great to hear and be encouraged that companies like you guys are getting behind it and trying to push and bring young people in.
Yes, and actually it's one area that I think the UK are doing really well in. We're involved, as I mentioned, in the whole of Europe, and we don't see the same level of investment in new skills in the same way. And we've been involved in helping the European Chips Act get off the ground, and talking to one of the chip competence centres. Training is one of the areas they've identified as a key inadequacy in their indigenous electronics industry. So we're probably leading the way there, although maybe in a lot of other areas we're still lagging quite a bit behind.
And are there any main factors or any drivers for that? Because, as you said, we've both maybe been in the industry a little bit long. So where do you see the issues? Where can you see any opportunities?
Well, I think, as I mentioned earlier, sort of over 15 years ago now, the UK, through what was then the NMI and a guy called John Moore, they recognised the continual problem and the growing problem of the skills gap, and so the UK ESF was put in place to address that. And I think one of the strengths of the UK electronics industry is we do have that strong trade body, and there are similar organisations in Europe like Silicon Saxony and Simpacker and what have you in France, but they don't seem to have that same national traction that we do. So that's one area where the UK has done a very good job of identifying the problem and putting practical solutions in place to help address those.
And I think also you find, we have become very defiant as a UK industry because because we keep getting beaten backwards.
Yes.
We don't have maybe the support that we do that other industries do, maybe in Europe, in other countries, with regard to support from government and other groups. How do you feel about that?
Well, you're absolutely right, and I think part of the problem we have in the UK and in Europe in general is that the companies involved in microelectronics aren't the names of the companies you see on the badges of the products that we go into. So everybody knows Apple, everybody knows BMW, everybody knows Indesit washing machines or what have you, but they don't know who are putting the chips into those pieces of equipment. I gave a presentation earlier today where I took a map of the UK and showed that the microelectronics industry is a real and thriving industry in the UK. With companies like Cirrus Logic in Edinburgh, ARM and Qualcomm in Cambridge, Renesas in Swindon. There's an indigenous electronics industry here already, but we don't do a very good job of publicising that. And because big companies aren't recognisable names, they don't necessarily engender the same support from government that, say, a Dyson would or a Jaguar Land Rover would. So we heard in the news today how the government are considering buying components from Jaguar Land Rover's suppliers to keep them in business. But during the pandemic, you didn't hear of any government trying to buy semiconductor chips to keep the semiconductor industry going. So I think it's a problem we have of being sort of so anonymous.
Yeah. And maybe a little bit too British, because I think that's our problem. We don't shout enough about the capabilities that we have and the achievements that we have.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the key thing. And also, moving forward with getting younger people into the industry is sort of working it back and explaining to them that they could be part of the next thing that creates the next Apple phone or whatever else, because they're only interested in the glitzy bit at the end. They're not interested in how it gets to them.
Absolutely, yeah. So there's a lot of work we can do there, and I'm delighted to say that Siemens are fully behind UKSF as well and sponsoring events and awards. So it's good time to be involved in that.
Amazing. And the event so far for you has been good?
It has. We've had a couple of talks. Siemens have been talking on a number of different topics: hardware assisted verification, automotive design, and we've had a steady flow of people coming by the booth. So some familiar faces, but plenty of new faces as well. And it is good to see a good number of young people wandering around. Of course, a few of those may well just be looking for jobs, but it's good to see that there are new people coming in.
Yes.
Exactly, absolutely right. So it's good to see.
Amazing, great stuff. Well, thank you very much for your time. It's been lovely to speak to you, and I wish you all the best. And we'll catch up soon.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.